Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you could make it. This is Jeannie Ralston. I'm the founder of Next Tribe. We are so excited about the potential for you guys to join us in Bologna. And we're going to talk about Bologna today. I'm going to show you some pictures. We can talk about the itinerary and everything. And then we'll have time for questions and so forth after you see the slide. So let me just first of all, before we do that, I'm going to introduce you to Shannon Fassler. Shannon, do you want to say
Hello.
hi?
Hi,
She's
everybody.
she's our is it a Italophile?
Yes,
Saying
a
that
telephile
correctly?
instead of
Okay,
Anglophile.
I know. I'm like, and she's just returned from 2 weeks in the Arctic. So I said your specialties are ice and Italy. So
Yes, Italy. It's true.
okay. Oops, let's go from the beginning. Oh. Okay, so Bologna. I have to tell you about Bologna that my mother's Italian, and I've spent time in Italy before, but when I said something about going to Bologna, she was just said, "Oh my God," she started swooning. She goes, "I love Bologna." She goes, "It is the gem. Nobody knows about it." Or maybe not nobody, but it's always people always hit the big three or Venice, Florence, and Rome. But she said Bologna is just so fabulous and it's so much more manageable, accessible. And so and the same thing, remember Shannon, when I asked you and our other Italy expert, Jen, like because Jen and Shannon do our Umbria creativity retreat. And I asked them, so where else would you like to take people in Italy? And you both said Bologna. You're like, big thumbs up. And I was like, well, let's go there and explore. So Shannon and I and our other friend Jen have spent time exploring and getting to know the city so that we could come up with the best itinerary for you. So this is what we've come up with. And I want to just start out by saying that one of the things that's so great about Bologna and this region, Emilia Romagna, is all the food it's famous for. It's called the culinary heart of Italy. And I remember thinking at one point, well, I thought, how can one area of Italy be better than any of the others? They're all so great. But I think that the fact that they consider this kind of the heart of the culinary heart of the country speaks so highly of what you find there. So this is just a little map showing some of the products that come from the area and why it's so famous. And here's I want to turn it over to Shannon for a minute where she can tell you. She's going to be the guide. She has spent a lot of time doing trips in Italy, and I'd love for her to kind of explain her love for Italy and what draws her to Bologna area.
Thanks, Jeannie. Hi, everybody. Shannon again. Says artist, historian, teacher, Italophile. I'm all those things. I first went to Italy taking a college study abroad program and fell immediately in love as an art historian. Obviously, I fell in love with Florence and Rome and all of Italy, but I also fell in love with the culture and the people and the variety. Italy to me is so many things. And I've spent a lot of time in Tuscany. I've spent a lot of time south, and Bologna is nothing like either of those places. It is 100% unique in as far as regions go in Italy. It is as the map showed, very famous for its food, but also art and culture and history. It has a slightly more recent history than say Tuscany or Rome. And what I and I think Jeannie and Jen fell in love with about Bologna was it is just as they mentioned, it's a very manageable city. It's not the crush of Rome or Florence. It's easily walkable. There's something around every corner. It's a young city. It's the oldest university in all of Europe is in Bologna. It still has a college town feel about it. There's a lot of vibrancy, there's a lot of energy. You have ancient history, but you go all the way up through modern history. It has contemporary art in addition to ancient art. It's really so many things. Whereas you could say, Florence is the home of the Renaissance and Rome is the home of the ancients and Bologna is many things, and full of variety and full of energy. And it's just a really lovely, lovely place to explore and eat. If you like to eat, this is the place to go. Um, Not that you can eat badly in Italy, but Emilia Romagna is definitely up there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
what I like a little bit about the town of Bologna, I love the porticos. I mean, because I did get caught in the rain once, and I was able to make it all the way back to the hotel with only stepping out into the rain, like for you know one half of a block because of all the porticos. And I think it's called the Red City because of the red brick, right, Shannon?
Yeah, the red stone. And it is if I remember correctly, it is the longest continuous portico in the world.
It's just crazy. I love
Yeah.
it. And I
Yeah.
think I remember reading and exploring I mean, when we were there, we were talking about how they built these porticos because they needed more square footage in the floors up above. So they were able to build out and keep expand the square footage. So even then, people were obsessed with their square footage. So
Yeah.
tell us about some of the art we'll see in Bologna.
So as far as like what some of the well-known things in Bologna, what and Jeannie and I were just talking about this. What I fell in love with was a couple of the I'm one of those people who goes into every church everywhere I go. Like I just go in because why not? Why wouldn't I walk into that church? And we went into the cathedral in Bologna and were blown away by one particular fresco cycle that I don't even know. It was amazing and unusual and fabulous. All of the artwork in the cathedral. The cathedral itself is beautiful. It's very large. It has a very long history, both politically and religiously for the region, for this particular region. The fresco that we were talking about earlier is a depiction of hell that is unlike any other fresco I've ever seen in my entire life. And this is in a church filled with a lot of wonderful art. And then we went into some other churches that had some really what I found so interesting about it is the work that is in the churches and in the sites and the buildings themselves is so unique and different than what you see in the Renaissance and what you see in the more ancient towns. One of the places that we went to was the church with the is it called the Screaming Marys? I think it's the or
Yeah, the Lamentations of Christ or something
yeah,
like that.
and it's just these kind of terracotta figures, which is also really rare to have terracotta that has survived the test of time. And they're just these overly hyperbolic emotional portraits of the Marys at the Lamentation of Christ. And it could be made today and you would be like, oh yeah, that looks contemporary, but it wasn't. It was made, hundreds of years ago. And um the church what did we the seven churches, the church within a church within a church within a church was fascinating to me. It's uh origins are Greek temple, Roman temple, early Christian church, and instead of leveling and building, they just kept adding on to it. And it's like this crazy, insane maze where you walk through history from room to room from each of the different churches. It just the things that you see in Bologna and this region are just not like the other places in Italy that are more touristy and more common because they're under different influences and they're under different political influences and different government types. Also, Bologna and this region did suffer more heavily during World War II than, say, Rome or Florence. So you have a lot of really interesting historical, political, and religious conflict and uh, power play going on, which makes it also a really interesting city to me. That, yeah, I could talk about it forever, but I know we don't have forever. Look, a hotel.
I'm muted, sorry. We have a great hotel. We did while we were there, we were checking out all the hotels, and this one was right in near the plaza, but down a side street near the main plaza. Loved it. I think it'd be great central space for us to be walking around. And then we get soon after we arrive, we'll have time to get our bearings, but we'll start in, we were able to meet a wonderful woman who does market tours. There's 3 incredible markets in Bologna, food markets, and her name's Benedetta, and she'll take us around. We'll get samples. She'll explain why this food is so famous. You know, the mortadella, the certain types of food, and we're tasting all over the place. So that's we'll get a great overview, and we'll end at the best gelato shop in town. So very important. And then of course we'll see lots of pasta everywhere. And I love this up in the corner, the woman who just rolling out pasta at a restaurant. She sits in the window and she does that the whole time, and it's just great. You just imagine that whatever she's making right now will, when you walk in, will be what you're eating in a few minutes. So and it's also famous for its tortellini and tortelloni, which is gets confusing, but the tortellini is the small stuff that we know here in the States, but the tortelloni is bigger, and that's me with a big tortelloni. I mean, super big. As somebody said, bagel, but anyway. And then we'll have I met this woman, Bianca, who has a villa outside, like 10-minute train ride outside of Bologna. So we'll get to go to her villa with beautiful views. You can see back behind me, she does a cooking class. I'm drinking her homemade limoncello there. And so we'll have a day just diving into cooking. We pick our whatever we want to I mean, we'll all go together, look at what's on the menu, and we can decide what we want to cook while we're there, what we want to learn to cook. So oh, and then this is where Miss Shannon is the expert.
This is really super exciting for me. In the Emilia Romagna region is a town called Ravenna, and Ravenna houses, as you can see in these photos, probably the most impressive gold ground mosaics in the world. They date to the Byzantine era. I'll talk a lot about that and what was going on in the world at that time. But all of these mosaics are in really, really good condition. They are early Christian, so early Christian Roman Empire mostly. And gold ground mosaic means that they took small pieces of glass and cut them into very small squares. You can't tell by looking at these photos, but they're very small. And then they put gold leaf on the back side of them and then adhered them to the ceilings and the walls. And this was the primary form of painting during this time period. It was about wealth. It was about opulence. And when the light in these churches hits this gold, it is like nothing you've ever seen. So we're gonna hop on a train. We're gonna take a day trip to Ravenna. We're gonna see probably the 3 most well-known of the churches that have these mosaics in them. And then we're gonna hop on a train and we're gonna go back to Bologna. And you're gonna be blown away. You're muted.
Sorry, I have noise around me, so I was trying to mute myself. So what we'll do then, we'll have 4 nights in Bologna, and then we'll have a minibus take us from Bologna up to Modena, which is a little bit northwest of Bologna. And but on the way, it's beautiful farmland, vineyards, that kind of thing. So I'll have time to really enjoy the countryside, and we'll stop at a balsamic vinegar distillery. This is where, the famous balsamic vinegar, this is where it's from. When you see Modena on the labels in your balsamic vinegar in Whole Foods or any specialty shop, this is where it's from. And so there's a whole process to making the vineyard, I mean the vinegar, and it's like what decade, I'm not decades, but generations old, like centuries old. And a lot of people in the area used to have barrels like this in their attic, and they would have their own stock of vinegar. They'd make it, and it's a process that takes but at least 12 years, but they also move bits of the first batch into the second batch. They rotate the liquid throughout those 12 years, and some of the vinegar, it can go on for 25 years, or they had 100-year-old vinegar at one of the places we went. So we'll get to do tastings. We'll have lunch out at the vinegar distillery. We'll also, Lambrusco is this gorgeous wine that I just fell in love with. I'm usually a white wine drinker, but I don't even know. It's just it's so light, isn't it, Shannon? The
Yeah,
Lambrusco.
it's more like a sparkling red a little
Yeah,
bit. Yeah, but not heavy. Yeah, it's delicious. Yeah, there will be wine. There will be
there will
lots and
be
lots.
wine.
Anne is already on the wine train.
We saw it. Um, and then so we'll get to Parma. I mean, excuse me, we'll go to Modena. We'll spend the night there, and then we will take the transportation. We'll go to Parma, and we will go in the morning. You can go to one of the Parmesan cheese producers, and you can taste it's ricotta, the first batch they make of the day, but then they age it, and it becomes the Parmesan cheese that we know. So we'll go there, and we'll also go to the Parma ham producer, which is also prosciutto, Parma ham prosciutto. But this is where, this is the heart of where this happens. So all these things that we think of when we think of Italian food, so much of it is born here and is officially made here. And Parma itself is a gorgeous town and elegant, very elegant town, small, but I mean, I'm trying to think of something to compare it to in the US, where it's small, but it's got such style, it's so clean. So both those towns, Modena and Parma, are that exquisite Italian style. I also, important to say, we're not going to be doing this, but this is also famous area for race car, car makers, Ferrari and Lamborghini. So they're all in this area. We're not going to be doing that unless you want to do that on a free day. So but that's the kind of level that we're at here, and of the style and sophistication in these towns. So in Modena, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how refreshing. Remember the colors, Shannon? It was just amazing, the colors on the walls, and then they have these beautiful decor over the streets. You see the umbrellas, and of course more gelato. But also, I think Modena is the only place in the area that has a 3-star Michelin restaurant. And I would love to take you guys there, but I just can't figure that thing out. But we are going to a bistro with the same 3-star Michelin chef as the very famous restaurant. So Shannon, you want to tell them a little bit about what we had there?
Yeah, so I don't know how many of you watch Chef's Table on Netflix, but in the first season, the very first chef that they had is Massimo Bottura, and is from outside of Modena. Also, if you watch Stanley Tucci Searching for Italy, which is also an amazing show, Massimo Bottura is on it, and he opened a restaurant in Modena called Francesca. And it is a Michelin star restaurant. It's supposed to be amazing. I unfortunately have never eaten there. But just a little bit further away from Francesca, he opened Franceschetta 58, which is like Jeannie was saying is the bistro version. It's a tasting menu and it's outstanding. And I think we ate, we were eating there for hours. I
I
don't
know
know.
it was,
Food
it was
just kept coming and drinks just kept coming. And it was really special. It's a gastronomical experience. It's not home cooking Italian, it's more modern Italian. And I really enjoyed the experience. So we are going to be eating there.
that,
It's
that's going to be our farewell dinner there. So it'll be quite a treat. We'll
and we
end,
will probably have the whole restaurant.
I will have a good chunk of it for sure.
Yeah,
It's not
because
big, but
it's not a big place. It's a very small place and not easy to get into, but Jeannie made it happen.
yeah, they were wonderful. But I had to call them before I dared put it on the itinerary, because I figured, what if they say, "Oh God, we don't take big groups like this," but they were like, "Yeah, come." So
Yeah.
we're going. We're gonna
And
eat.
Modena is just, it's really, like Jeannie was saying, it's really vibrant and quaint at the same time. And there was really great shopping and just walking up and down the streets was just really, really nice in Modena. I really liked Modena. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't put shopping in here as a slide, but I have to tell you, Shannon is a is an expert professional shopper, should I say?
Yeah, don't follow me when we say, okay, you have the afternoon free, unless you're willing to get in some trouble,
Yeah.
because that's where I'm going. Um, yeah.
It's true. I have lots of things that I bought and I don't regret one. So anyway. So and then, well, yep. So that gives you a kind of a visual of what we're talking about here, of our trip. And I thought what we do now is we'd open it up for questions about the trip. Does anybody have a question? I see, I see Lou McNaughton. I see, hi
Yes.
Lou, do you have a question?
And Jeannie, can you check the weight room? I think T's in there.
Oh no, she's here.
Oh, she got in. Okay, great.
And she just says iPad. It just says iPad. Um,
I have a quick question. I haven't looked at the itinerary yet. And so I was wondering how many free days or afternoons are there on this trip?
there's a free afternoon in Bologna, and then a little like a late afternoon. I mean, there's always a little bit here and there, but built in, there's a little bit on one afternoon in Modena, and then there's really most of the last day is in Modena is mostly free time, and then we'll build up and go to that have our big dinner that night, our farewell dinner. So I always when I do a trip, I try to build in some free time, and as so that people don't get worn out. But I also know that, you're there to see things. So I want to make sure people get as much as they want. And as on any Next Tribe trip, if there's something that you're like, I'm going to peace out for a little bit, there's no pressure. You're free to come and go as you need. As I always tell people, I feel like you're grown women, and you can do, I'm not going to make you walk in lockstep behind me. So yeah, if you want to take a day or something doesn't sound as appealing to you as other things, then you're free to do your thing. The other thing we don't have on the slides, and I didn't put it in the itinerary because I don't know anything about the schedule, but Modena is also the home of Pavarotti, and they're still very big into opera there. So it's a kind of thing that if, as we get closer and I can be checking what's going on, maybe we'll make some time for any opera fans to go to the local opera house. But I can't promise that because it's all based on what's going to be playing, and there's nothing I can get information on at this point. But that's the kind of thing I like to keep a little flexibility in there too. And it's something that not everyone, if you just wanted to go and a few people wanted to go, not everyone, that's okay too. So, yes, it just says iPad. What's your name?
Linda Lee Myers.
Oh, Linda. Yes. Hi, Linda.
So what is the weather like in March?
Shannon, you've been there so many times a year.
Yeah.
What?
It can be a little on the cool side and a little rainy. And by cool, it's going to be maybe 50s, 60s, maybe even warmer. And it does tend to be sprinkling a little bit on and off those days. But with that, you get less tourists and less crowds, and no heat, which coming from the Arctic back to Texas. Whew. So, but there's never any guarantee. I've been there in the winter and it's been 60 degrees
Yeah.
in January. So, hi, Carolyn. Sorry.
That's okay.
Hello, Shannon.
Yeah. So, but March tends to be a little on the cooler side. The perfect time for your Italian leather jacket, and a really
Which
cute.
Shannon will help you buy if you don't come with one.
I have to say, I went with Shannon and I ended up with two leather jackets.
Not my fault.
Not your fault.
Yeah,
But
that's an excellent question. And of course, as we get closer, we can start to see what's going on with that.
And one of the reasons we picked March for this trip is that, as you've probably been reading, Italy and all of so many places in Europe are getting overrun in the summer. And so we want to offer it at a time where you can experience it, more freely and without that kind of pressure. So, it's like, okay, and to be honest, I mean, the summers lately, and Shannon, that you spent all of June in Italy. I mean, they get really hot now, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They get really hot and really crowded. As you all probably know, everybody is traveling now. Post-COVID, there is no vacation season. It is just year round. And all of my friends that live there and have shops there and restaurants there have all been saying that there really is no downtime. But you can, when school is in, you can moderate that a little bit, which is why March is a great time to go. But yeah, it does get really hot.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? I see Mary Olive Judson. Hello, Mary Olive. And there's, some people I haven't seen before, some people who've traveled with us before. So, and I also want to introduce Marcy. Marcy, can you say hello to people? Because Marcy's our travel manager. And so some of you have dealt with her before, but once you sign up, then there'll be more interaction with Marcy. She'll be taking care of you through the process before we head out to Bologna.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Recognize a lot of your names. Sounds like another amazing trip. So I'm here for you if you need anything. travel@nexttribe.com.
Okay, I have not traveled with you ladies before.
Yes.
So what is inclusive on the 4,300? Are meals extra, and is that double occupancy price?
That is double occupancy, and I am just going to look. Hold on a second. I'm looking. What happened here? Exit player. Sorry, I got out of the sync here with the thing. I'm just looking at what's included on just to make sure I don't misspeak. But
Okay.
We have, what I like to do, so we have 6 dinners. The only dinner that's not going to be covered is the day that you have the cooking class, because we're going to be eating all day. So other than that, dinners are covered, breakfasts are covered, most lunches, there might be a couple lunches that aren't covered because you are on a free day, like the day that we are free day in Modena, you'll be on your own to pick up something to eat. But I like to do cover as much as possible because I want people to feel comfortable and not have to worry about finding their money or their credit card or dividing things up. So I really work hard to make the pricing as inclusive as possible. So yes, when we have transportation included, all the activities we mentioned on here are included, the visits to all the different producers and the distilleries. So yes, we do a good job covering it so you can feel free that you're going to be spending your money if it in the shops maybe instead of all the little
Not on food.
not
Okay.
on food. So.
And is double occupancy 2 beds?
Yes, always 2 beds. Always.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And we do our best to match you up with somebody that you will
Yeah.
you'll get along with well.
Profile it out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and we've had lots of good luck. T here on you can tell him you roomed with somebody you'd never met before. Can you just tell him? Where are you? I think it was like one of the greatest stories. Hold on a second. You're muted. Okay, there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beth and I started chatting a little bit before the trip after the meet and greet on Zoom. And then
and this was for Scotland. Yeah.
Yes. And
Okay.
then decided to room together, and it was magic. I'm going to New York this week, and we're meeting for the day in the city.
Oh.
And so we've kept in touch since the trip. The day after the trip started, people were coming up to us and saying, how long have you guys known? We just met. So that was a wonderful part about the trip for sure.
Yeah. So we have lots of stories where people meet they get along so well, they become good friends, and then they become future travel buddies, like they
Mhm.
try to go places
Yeah.
together.
Jeannie, I don't think I told you, Jeannie, that I'm going to visit Lori Bennett in Costa Rica in January.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. So this is somebody who was on Shannon also leads our creativity retreat in Umbria in May. And last year, one of the women on the trip, Lori Bennett, and now you're going to visit her in Costa Rica. That's beautiful. And that happens a lot. People you meet on these trips, and what I like to say is that just by being on the trip, going on the trip, you're already self-selected to some degree. You're curious, you're game, you want to explore.
Mhm.
We're all about the same age. We've gone through similar life experiences. It's just amazing how quickly these groups bond and the kind of camaraderie we see. And so you'll just see people just having little reunions. We had our first trip to Paris. There was people from all over the country, and then somehow people ended up like half the group got together in Austin at one point. So, and we keep in touch. We always have WhatsApp groups, text groups where we talk about, well, on the trip, it's necessary so you can know, any changes in the schedule or new information that you need for the day. And so we have these text groups, and those text groups just live on. And, I think somebody was just talking on the Scotland text group yesterday or something. So it's just it's something that you'll share with these people you've traveled with, and it's a great experience that lasts longer than just the trip itself.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions? Because I do have a drawing, I'm going to draw a name. Somebody's going to win $400 off of the trip. Marcy, can you go on our, this was streaming on Facebook. Can you see if there's any names of people on Facebook who are commenting? Because I'll put them in the drawing too. But
Yeah, let me have a look.
okay.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Marcy, I just wanted to say also, I mean, in the free time, or in again, like Jeannie said, you're welcome to do whatever you want to do, whatever you feel like doing. But I'm always game to, if you want to go see a particular museum or gallery or work of art or church or historical site, I'm your girl. I can't get enough of that. I eat it up. I have what I consider a fairly broad knowledge base for this region in this area. And I know that we talked about me liking to shop, and that is something that I do like to do. But I like to go into cultural sites, historical sites, and artistic sites as much or more than I do. So, and Carolyn has traveled with me, and she knows that if we're walking by something, I'll just be like, let's go in here.
Yeah.
And there's something amazing in there. And so I'm always game if there's something that you want to see or something you want to know more about or talk about or you're interested in, you just let me know and we will make it happen.
And I love that about you're so multidimensional. You've got you've got your art, you're so knowledgeable about that, but you're so fun and fun loving. And then you've got your shopping thing, and then you've got
Shopping thing.
your shopping.
Is there a book,
Multifaceted.
is there a book that you could recommend to sort of get up to speed on this part of Italy?
Oh, that's a good question. But you know what? Do you know something off your top of your head, Shannon? If not, we
Not
can research it.
Not off the top of my head, but I can definitely get back to you. Do you have, Jeannie, you have everybody's info?
Yes, I've got
Yeah,
everybody's.
absolutely. I can definitely get back to you on that for sure.
Great.
I love that you want to read up on it before you go. It's awesome.
Yeah. Marcy,
Jeannie, I see a comment from Bridget Morin.
oh, is she interested?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll put Bridget's name in there. Okay, I'm putting names in it. I've got everybody's name. I'm putting everybody's name in this
You're doing
little.
it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, this is very, la la la.
In the high-tech coffee
The
cup.
high tech. It's actually a Texas A&M coffee. My boys went to Texas A&M, if you know that. Okay. Oh, Bridget Morin. Bridget.
Uh-oh.
Our Facebook friend. She's on the face because I'm live streaming, as I said. So
Yeah.
Bridget gets the $400 off. And I want to make this offer to all of you, even if you're on Facebook or here, if you sign up in the next week. So what, today is the 3rd, by September 10th, I'll give everybody $100 off. Anybody who is on this Zoom, extra $100 off, because you will get $100 off automatically if you're a member. I think most of you are members, but membership is $39. So you pay $39, you get $100 off of all the trips. So, it's definitely worth it. And, but I do want to encourage you to sign up, because it is just such a lovely trip. And Shannon, you couldn't be a better guide, because you're so smart and knowledgeable, and you can go, as you said, you can go into any level that people want. You can go way deep into the art history, or you can keep it light, whatever. So I think I think people really will enjoy that part of it.
I also like food quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Quite a bit.
That's a good thing.
That is a good thing. So anyway, we have your name. So if you sign up, you'll Marcy, you'll make the deposit, and Marcy will deduct the $100 just from your future payments. And please understand, it's just a beautiful thing that we have. It's these payment plans where you have a monthly payment, and it reduces it to small little bits, so you don't feel the pain as much. And I think that it really helps a lot. And I wanted to make sure people know that
Excuse me,
Yeah.
if you do a payment like that, is there any added on for
No.
having that payment?
no interest.
Do you need to be a Next Tribe member to do that?
No, you do not need to be a Next Tribe member to have the
Okay.
payment plan. But
Thank you.
the Next Tribe member is for the $100 discount. A couple of other things, not maybe on this trip, but one thing that happens, if you are a member, especially if you're a lifetime member, you will get, if there's any better rooms that open up, or
Mm-hmm.
upgrades, like you're a double, but we have a single room that opened up. If you're a lifetime member
Yeah.
or a member, you get first priority to move up. Or, and then on wait list and things like that, the members are always higher priority, just like
And
on
is,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, is the 39 annual or?
It's annual, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, well, I'm so glad you joined us. And as we said, if you have other questions, travel@nexttribe.com. That's Marcy's email. And she's so knowledgeable and so helpful. So I know you'll be in good hands. And I appreciate it. And Shannon, thank you so much. As always, get some rest. Thank you for joining us after she got back from the Arctic on Saturday. So she's had a busy summer, and I'm sure you enjoyed the coolness there after you got 2 weeks out of Texas heat. So that's good for you.
It's really nice to meet all of you, and I will be in touch with Jeannie with a list of books.
Oh,
And
that's a great idea. Yes, that's right. We'll get a note out to everybody.
fantastic.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.